What's up, everyone? Let's make sure. All right. All right. I think we've got everything kind of set up for today. Thanks for stopping by. This is, of course, our another live stream Tuesday nights. Some nice, relaxing, chill time to draw, have a little fun, do a little art. You know, nothing too crazy. So let's go ahead and get started here. I'm going to start by just doing a little bit of a warm-up sketch to get us going. Get some nice play with here. Perfect. Kind of play with it a little. See what we got going here. Kind of get something on the paper. Let's just kind of get it on there, and then we'll see kind of where it goes. Maybe we're doing a source or some sort. I think that'd be a good idea. I think for this hand, we're actually do something more like want to play with it, you know? Have some fun. Have engaged the piece a little bit, see where it takes us. I decided if this is an elf or if this is a... What kind of Venus is he? I'm doing a lot of elves lately, and I'm okay with that. So I'm gonna go here, like so. Kind of play with it, see where our facial features end up, because right now I'm not entirely loving the face, but that's okay. Do you know why? Right now we're just sketching. We can just have some fun with it. See where things end up. Nose would be about right there. Mouth. That's just some idea here. Now we're just kind of in that sketchy phase, just kind of mapping things where we want them to go. Trying to see some ideas for an outfit here. the first step is always, like I said, I want to try and create some sort of sketch on the paper. Give me an idea of where I'm going. We're being very loose right now, very kind of just throwing the ideas out there. It's not a whole lot like as far as like correctness that we're looking for yet. Like those are going to come in when we do our next sketch. Right now we're really just trying to get that thought onto the paper of like where we're going with this. And so kind of my thought here is that we have this kind of sorcerer girl in kind of like a magic pose. Maybe she's got like a little orb in her hand, and we'll kind of do that as well. And right now I just want to kind of get that idea. So like we have, say, like a magical orb that she's got in this hand here. Maybe it's on fire. She's kind of floating up in the air. Again, just kind of getting those ideas onto the paper is what we're looking for. I also like to look and see like ideas from like movies and stuff. So like if you see me like looking over, what I'm doing is I'm also looking for ideas for clothing, like how we want her to be dressed up and so forth. So use references, people. Like some people are like, oh, I don't use references, and I'm like, no, you definitely should. So like, what if we did her kind of like she's from the desert? She has a little bit of that. So the way this belly's looking is looking kind of funky to me. We're gonna take a look here. Flip it a little bit. Looking too distended there, and we don't want that. So we're gonna clean that up just a little bit. Yeah, that's better. That's where that other orange is coming from. On the side. Necklace or something that's kind of floating with her. She floats in the air. Do a little bit different with that belt. Kind of like it's hanging off the hip a little bit. Nothing too crazy. And for the sandals, I can do something like so. I think so we don't confuse ourselves. Let's clean that up just a little bit. Just want this. Okay, so we have kind of our first sketch. Now we're gonna work on kind of refining that idea a little bit. We want to kind of zone in. We don't want it to be too loose like the first one's now. So we're gonna start kind of cleaning things up a little bit, making it a little bit neater, kind of bringing those shapes home, so to speak, that we want. I'm gonna start in. I like to start on the face sometimes, just because it gives me a little idea of the character. Come in here on the right layer. Make sure you're on the right layer. And we've got some nose. Some eye. We're just gonna kind of start blocking these shapes out. Let's see where our eyelashes are at. Now we're giving her a little bit more life. We want to kind of open it up a little bit. Get our idea for where we want our mouth to be. I think we're going to change up these lips just so this. We can still, like, we have some room to make mistakes a little bit here. We do want to try and start refining our picture as much as possible in this stage, though. So, like, even though we're still sketching them, we're going to do an ink layer later. We still want to kind of create a semblance of better direction to tell us where to lay those inks down later. Let's see, that's maybe where our hair's coming through. Go over the face a little bit. The hair I'm still going to be a little messy with. I want to create some sense of fluidity with how the hair's flowing. And being a little bit messy with that part for me is okay right now. I definitely am going to clean it up before we go to the inking phase, but as you can see, it's helping kind of give us an idea that this hair is supposed to be like fluid and is flowing around her. Next, a little bit too far out. Gives us an idea of where that shadow's gonna go. Do the same here. And give us our starts to some of our shadows. Give us a little bit of an idea there. We'll see other side of the ear coming out a little bit. And I didn't think about this, but maybe she's got like a hood. See, and this is the nice thing about being able to kind of still refine. Like, we're not completely committed to necessarily one idea entirely yet. It gives us a little bit of freedom here. So we can bring this hood like back like so. Still want a nice fluid hair movement. From back behind as well. From underneath the hood. A little bit of this hood showing up the top here like so. Got some sort of clasp here where her hood catches on. And so just like so we're aware as far as the anatomy goes, this neck, oops, would come like so, and would come across to here. Here, right? So this would be like our neck. We're gonna have the clavicle is gonna sit right in about here, right? So we always want to watch our anatomy and where we're looking at. Even if we've got a lot going on in front of it, we still need to have a good idea of the proportions kind of behind it. And so we've got clavicle here, that we got kind of this tied shirt piece going. So let's kind of feel this out and see what this is going to look like as well, because it's probably going to be a little bit more loose fitting. Not necessarily as tight. And so as it sits, we're going to have a little bit of shadow underneath. Shadow here. And then we're going to have here like so. So breast would form here, here. what I want to do with this as well. Just a little bit of an idea of the outline here. So we have sleeveless, or what we could do is we could go in and add the rest of this. I think what I want to do is we're going to do like a band here and give us some like poofy sleeves down to about right here. Again, that kind of like flowy material over the arm is what we're looking for. Maybe we have just a little bit of lay. Piece of arm or something. Again, we're still sketching. We can play with it some, you know? Nothing too crazy that we have to worry about. As we start getting down here to the waist. And again, just so we have some clarity. Way these kind of bigger sleeves will poof up. Fix that just a little bit because I'm not liking the way. We are going to have this piece coming out from the back. Yeah, something like that. The hand. Not sold on the poofy sleeve yet. We might go back to that. super loose, just kind of having fun with it, playing around. This is still just our second sketch, so we're not sold necessarily on any ideas. We're not to the inking layer yet. We'll not have to freak out too much if we mess things up. It's always the spot you want to be in. I'm just trying to get a little bit more kind of clean in how we get this set up, because when we do get to inking, we want to have a nice clean sketch to ink over. Otherwise it'll be a lot harder for us to see what lines we're keeping. Like, see right now, this has got to be cleaned up before we ink because it's a mess. But I feel better about it, like about in the face, because we have a much cleaner sketch than what we were doing in the other parts. Go ahead and start working on these boots. Before we go to inking on that, but and for those kind of Greco-Roman style boots is what we're going for here. A little bit of texture in the cloth behind. I think we're going to do that. So give us some of this detail. Come to the other hand. In the way that looks entirely. What we can do is kind of play with it some. So yeah, so now we've kind of got like our second sketch layer going on. Let's turn off the initial fix some things here with the hair. I do like that we went with the hood. We're gonna have a couple little things like this to touch up around here. Gonna have some nice shadow back there, right there as well. So that hair's coming out. I think too, on the shadow here, here. So our lights come in this direction. What we want to do is want to make sure that we're putting shadows in the right spots. So we will have some here in the ears. Of course, all that below is going to be shadow. Gonna have a little bit behind on the hood. This shadow, a little bit here. I'm actually gonna have a lot more on this part. Hand. This hand almost entirely in shadow. I think too, one of the big things about like shadows and shading is just to think about where's your light coming from and how would that fall on your subject, right? If my light's coming from the top, like so, move that back over there. Then I would have the light touching the tops of these surfaces blocked by hair or anything of that nature, and we just want to make sure that we're replicating that on the paper. Like as this is curving in, this is probably going to have a little bit of shadow there. And that's kind of what we'd be looking at in terms of like shading goes for some of the basic light. And then we would have, of course, like our ambient occlusion, which might include spots like here, might have some here, some more up in here, where any of those other spots might cover stuff up. That's what we call our ambient occlusion. That's what we're really looking for. One thing too, I'll probably give her a little bit more definition there on the face. You could do like, if she had really high cheekbones, detailed. I think what we're getting here from this picture is she's a little bit younger, maybe a little bit elusive. Yeah. Turn my fan on for just a little bit. It's getting a little warm in here. So let's zoom out and kind of see what we've been doing so far. Initial sketch, super messy, super crazy. This is Sorry, I'm back. Focused. Layer number 1, our extremely messy sketch, right? That's what happens. So, and then for layer 2, we started cleaning it up. You kind of see the difference here. Again, going from real messy. Now we're cleaning it up a little bit. And I didn't on layer 2 add in her little magical and this is gonna be fun because this little sphere of magic is gonna create a whole nother layer of lighting. It's gonna come in from here like so. So when we get to the coloring and the inking and all that stuff, that's where we'll kind of dive in with that. For now, we're here. So we're gonna turn down the opacity just a little bit. Create a new layer. We're gonna go ahead and name this one Inks. Kind of scary. I have a good idea of where I'm going with it though, so I'm not too worried. I'm gonna get what I like for my inks, and we are gonna go for just a straight black ink. Once again, we're starting at the face. I like it. I like to be able to see it. I want to see it come alive. And so I still think this might be a little too big for one. Let's kind of zoom out and see what that looks like. Yeah, that's good. Too much. Too much. Take it down. Want to be real tiny. Subtle. Smooth. We're not looking for anything crazy here. It's not what we want. We want sleek. Go in. Come back. If we need to. You can also add some individuals. Little strands of hair here and there. So we zoom back out to where we want to be, right? It's looking nice. It's gonna look a little fuzzy up close. That's okay. This one we want to be kind of light. Same thing here. We don't need it to be too crazy. This one we want to be nice and thick though. This one we want to be nice and thick. I'm gonna give her some nice pointed eyeshadow there. Mascara. You know, that thing that goes there. I don't know. I'm gonna get in there and do the other eye. Same thing, nice. Thick, juicy line. hair comes out like so. We're gonna play with it some. Have a little fun with it. It's like what I could do as well is I could say like got a couple little strands coming through. Here to our mouth. This is where we want to be a little delicate because we want to get the right shape here. We don't want to end up with something like goofy looking. Chin, so, all the way through. And now I'm not really liking this part here on the side, so we're gonna go in and fix that real quick. Better. Now for the ultimate test. Flip that canvas. I think I figured out what it is. Move this over. Just a hair. Same thing with the eyebrow. I realized I could have done those together. But where's the fun in that? Flip that. And we're gonna keep checking. Much better. Make that a little thinner. There we go. Now look at that. So our hood is kind of what we're gonna outline next. Give us some direction for where this hair is coming out. From under the hood. Some nice subtle little hair strokes to emphasize that shadow from the hood. Nothing too crazy, right? We're just having some fun with it. And then ear. come in and add the dots later. So right now, let's just get the direction of pupils. I'm gonna go in and add like a little design if we wanted to. Get all kinds of things. We do have some hair that's coming out. This direction as well. We could do, I've seen I'm gonna take that lip down just a little bit. Okay, let's see. A little bit worried about how the sleeve is going to turn out. But, you know, I'm not too upset. So now, everyone's worst nightmare. Get my hands. One thing here is I do not like. It looks a little too thick in the forearm region, and we don't want that. We want All right. Once again, we're going to flip to see how things are looking. So far, so good. Use our little helpful tool here. All the little folds in this just right. Otherwise, it doesn't convey the motion and the action that we're trying to convey in the scene. So let's take a look how we're looking at that so far. And I think I want. I'm looking at this. What if? Yeah, see, I think I like that better. The bigger peoples. This is where it gets kind of tricky. Like, do you want to keep it's kind of the same? So I'm not liking the way these are turning out quite yet. Initially we had gone with this one version of the pose. Let's see here. Not quite the same pose we're doing here, but support use reference. All I want is just this one little portion here. And we're simply going to lot better. Ten times better. Why you use references, folks? Come here. Tonight's music is brought to you again by Stream Beats by Harris Heller at Alpha Gaming. Previously, it's recently gone over to Senpai Gaming or Alpha Senpai. Highly recommend checking it out. It's got a lot of great advice for YouTubers, streamers, and of course he does this royalty-free music for you to use, which is just awesome. Like, thank you. You don't have to worry about getting a DMCA or anything like that, which is awesome. We're all here just trying to have fun, do what we love. No one wants to worry about trying to deal with stupid stuff like that. That's not why we're here. Right. Now we're working. Let's see. Ooh, not one of you. Alright, we are getting there. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. And this is a little bit different than when I do like commissions or other work. This is just kind of just having fun, goofing off. I didn't really have a direction in mind as we were getting started tonight. Typically, when I'm doing commission work or anything that involves like a very specific direction, my process is often a little bit different. In that I start often more with the concept idea from the customer, and I'll go through a little bit of conversation about it, create like a mood board almost of like, what is this character's idea, themes. This literally just is a throwing crap on the paper and see what sticks. And sometimes it's fun to do that. Okay, now for this hand here that I've been putting off and dreading. Once again, let's look for some sort of reference. His hands are terrible. I was listening to someone the other day, and it was really good thought on like why we struggle with like the human form. It's because we're used to seeing it all the time, like even not consciously. When we look in the mirror or just looking at other people, we see anatomy on a daily basis, and when something's off it sticks out to us, and it makes it that much more difficult to really see. I was like, that's a really, really good explanation. I hadn't thought about it. And hands are one of those things that are just like very difficult. I don't know, some people have more trouble with other parts, and hands are not really an issue. Me, sometimes I get hung up on the hand, and I'm just like, So we'll see kind of what happens today. I think what we need to do here, see if this looks better. too crazy here, but definitely use some kind of polishing up. Do some tight cleaning up here. That's magical effect. So let's take off our sketches layer now. Yay! So we're getting somewhere. Now, we're going to save this because we don't want to lose it. Fix that just a little bit. Yeah, we're getting some coloring. That's not what I wanted. I wanted to do this. Flats. It's the first step. So we're going to start. About right here. Kind of see how that looks. Initial pass, I'm not too worried about being perfectly clean. We're going to clean all this up in just a second. So yeah, kind of got our bases there. So when I do coloring, and I'm trying to think like how I want this to mesh, I try to generally do my flats first, and I try to keep them really simple. I don't want them all over the place, too many colors that kind of distract. I want to kind of create a theme, an idea, and a color palette that fits well together, without going too far overboard. And so like for this, like I'm definitely feeling some nice deep reds in here. Maybe her skirt. Again, we're just kind of being loose because we're going to play and see what the overall feel looks like once we get this all down. Maybe her little cape thing. Oh, that was really terrible. Because for me, like too many colors can drown out what you're trying to accomplish in a piece. Yeah, see, I'm liking that. Okay. I think definitely then we're going to do here. And our hood is also going to be this nice red, deep red color. I'm liking that. Yeah. Yep. Now I want to get something a little bit complementary to that. Let's see how this looks. So I'm not liking that. The colors don't fit well. So this is where we get to kind of play some. I like this nice blue. See, I like the look of that. It looks good. We're gonna go with that. And we're actually gonna do a little bit complementary with that even. Take these sleeves, the poofy sleeves. Do a little bit lighter like that. Again, we're sticking to this idea of a theme with the colors here. And it really helps kind of bring a little bit of balance to the piece. Because now what we can do then is come in with like our, that we're gonna do our boots, and then we can do them to kind of match. Let's try this. Oh, it's because I had a selection, so there. Really kind of make it pop. Really making those stick out. Then we can do kind of a color that's way out of left field for this like tie. And I said way less out of way out of left field, not literally, like we want it to still feel like it kind of fits and kind of falls into the same place as what we're looking for here. And that's kind of what we're gonna go for. Now for the hair, I almost think a nice purple would look cool, but we're gonna see. And see, I'm not liking that so much now that I see it. Let's go to a lighter purple. Getting closer. Too light. We could do something like that, or if we went complete opposite, went from like a blonde, we can do that. The idea is we want to get those, like our color ideas out of the way first before we really commit to anything and doing our shadows. Green hair kind of sticks out like a sore thumb. We could go more of a brown. If we were going to do a black, which I kind of like the black. So black is definitely a top contender right now. One other way we can do this is we can Control U and we can play with, we don't want all of it, hold on, so let's fix this. My magic wand and just select our hair. And we can kind of play with our hues a little bit. Let's lighten that up so you can kind of see some. I'm kind of liking that color, just like that. So now that we have our flats down, let's go ahead and do a little bit of cleanup. So we kind of made a big mess with this. Now's the cleanup part though. Put it together, make it nice and neat. But you'll notice with my work, I like to be kind of messy at first, and then I come back and do a lot of cleanup. We're gonna switch to our regular round brush for this, instead of the inking brush we were using. Excuse me. Don't worry, we will get the eyes and things of that nature. We want to get our big base flat colors kind of out of the way first though, because what that's going to allow us to do is as we go in later, like again, if I was working for a client, say we got that stage done and then we go to do shadows and things like, you know, instead I kind of want green hair. I don't have to stress and go all the way back over my work. Literally I can just go to my flat layer, pick just the hair and change the color. That's what we want. That's the magic we want to work with. Make our job easier and also make it so the client, if there's some last minute changes, it's not too difficult. We can make it happen, right? And that's what we want. We want to have a happy client. Happy client is a paying client and a returning client. So we're going to continue to just kind of clean this up. Again, this is a sketch that we kind of just started tonight on stream. Just playing with it, having fun. It's a little bit of a different process from when I have, say, like a commission with a client. Whereas that's a little bit more detailed and involved right from the get-go. This, we started with a super messy sketch. Just throwing thoughts on the paper, see what sticks. And this is kind of where we've gotten to so far. Yeah. got a little elf sorceress going on right now. That's what it looks like. Middle of casting a spell, kind of floating in the air a little bit. Use your imagination, right? That's why I love to draw. You know why I love to do this stuff. I've always been one with a big imagination, a passion for creating things, creating worlds and stories. And art is one of the ways, one of my outlets, that allows me to kind of embrace that imagination and that story piece. But like I said, if you've followed me for a little bit, or maybe you're new to hanging out, seeing what's going on, maybe just popped in randomly, I started doing art again about only 2 years ago, and I did it because, you know, I was just inspired to do something that was creative again. Highly recommend it. If you don't have a creative outlet, find something you enjoy doing for your own mental health, your own sanity, and you never know. You never know what may come of it. For me, it's drawing, playing D&D. I DM a lot. Collaborative storytelling, even playing video games. I think all those things are valid options for hobbies and your mental health. And so if anything, I want to inspire people who come to hang out on my channel to have fun, to get creative, to, you know, just embrace their imagination and kind of have fun with it. Life's too short to not. I don't know where I was going with that. Yeah, life's too short not to have fun, not to be creative, to tell stories. Kind of zoom out here in just a second and see what we've got going on. Whew. Starting to look a little bit cleaner. We've got a little bit ways to go here. That's what we're working on. Getting this clean because we want it to be nice and clean, because when we start to go through those shadows and to really make the rest of it pop, we don't have to worry about trying to come back to our flats layer and fixing stuff. There might be a little bit here and there that we still have to do, but nothing too crazy. So we hope, at least, right? This is your first time coming and hanging out with us. My name is Ron, by the way, and online I'm known as Decaf Pillow. I do character art, illustrations and stuff. Like I said, as a hobby, also on the side is just kind of like a little bit of extra income, and something I love doing. Really have enjoyed getting to help bring some people's characters to life through this. But I'm artist, illustrator, gamer, dad, husband. Lots of different hats that I wear. And this is for me. This is my me time, my time to just kind of let the busyness of the day unwind. do try to stream every Tuesday. Sometimes other times. Most of the time I'll be drawing. Sometimes I'll be playing some games. I kind of have a sucky computer right now for doing gaming and streaming at the same time. That's like one of my goals is to save up to where I can be able to do that. Probably hoping to eventually get some production stuff where I can do some of my D&D games online as well to share. I'm new to the Twitch thing. I've been doing Twitch for, I don't know, not very long. Right. We're about halfway through getting all of our cleaned up lines and cleaned up coloring. So in my world, I have a homebrew world that I DM most of my D&D games out of. There is a subrace of elves known as Dune Elves. They come from largely a place in the east known as the Caliphate of Azerbaijan. And there's a large desert there, and the Dune Elves tend to be nomadic in nature, traveling from city to city. Very storytelling driven culture and society around dance and stories and so forth. So I think this sorceress that we're doing today is going to fit very well into that. More of a Dune elf, and so the more desert style garb she's wearing, the flowy, airy outfit, all fits and lends itself to that. So if you play in my Essos campaign, which is one of the cities we have, it's not too far from where they're at, so they might see this character as an NPC. You never know. As a DM, that's one of my favorite things too, is just I have an idea for a character, and I was like, I'm a DM, which is great because I love creating characters, and I can sit down and create new characters all the time and introduce them as NPCs in my games. So my players get to meet lots of interesting characters. I introduced one that we did on stream a while back. It's a half-orc farmer named Maribel, and my players the other night were floored. She had a thick southern style accent, like Georgia Peach style, and they were thrilled. So those little NPCs that sometimes have that little quirk meant to be a small part of your campaign end up being a lot bigger. I'm pretty sure Maribel is now going to be a best friend, and the party will visit very often. She's a sheep herder. But yeah, this character here may make their way into one of my campaigns as well. We're almost done getting this cleaned up. Some people are very intent on like coloring the lines the first time, and if that's you and you're seeing this stream and you're freaking out and you're like, oh my gosh, I apologize. I don't ever color in the lines the first go. I get messy with it. And then come back and kind of clean it up later. Life's too short to color in the lines, you know? Just gotta fix that. I'll always go back and fix it. I'll always go back in and get the details to fit just right. Don't know what color we're gonna do her little orb. Woo! When you stick your pen too close to the screen. Getting there, almost to the top. Almost there. Well, that's been fun. I've been introducing my kids to Star Wars. It's been fun. My kids are younger, so they're finally at the point where it kind of holds their attention. Not quite there yet, so like it's been fun and interesting to try and explain what's going on as best as possible. But so there we have it. We have our first like flat colors down now. And so again, the reason why we want to do this is that if later on we need to go in and change something, we can use that magic wand, pick out just the flats of what we need to change the colors of. And it makes it a lot easier on us when wanting to fix something for the client. Like, so say they wanted this to be green instead. Thanks, Teslin. I appreciate the follow. We could easily go in here, make the changes as needed. Got that part as well. Like so. And could easily change that up without having to completely redo everything. And when we get to the shadow layer, I'll show you some other fun stuff that I do. But before we do that, we do need to come in here and start a little bit of work on the eyes. Don't want to go true white. It kind of gets a little crazy if you go true white. Just a little bit like that. In fact, we're going to go outside that a little bit. And let's give her some green eyes. Perfect. Same thing except for the teeth. We want to be a little bit more, not yellow, but yellow. So, whenever I'm doing teeth or bone, things of that nature, I always kind of do a little bit of a yellow tint in there. Again, true white, true black, just most of the time doesn't read as well on your page. And so you always want to try and change that up a little bit. I think that's good. So now again, before we start moving on to shadows, we're going to do a little bit of touching up here on some blush, things of that nature. Turn my opacity way down on this, but I want to kind of give her a little bit of red in the nose, some red in the cheeks. Just giving that skin just a little bit more color, a little bit more pop. We're not looking for anything crazy, but we don't want it to be so blah. We want it to be kind of just slightly. It's still looking a little too bright for me, so what we're going to do is we're going to lower the opacity on the layer a little bit. There we go. Just want a nice subtle, nothing too crazy, nothing too wild. Just a little subtle pop of color. So now we get into the fun part of adding in our shadows and so forth. We're going to go ahead and actually merge that down to our flat layer. Actually, no, not yet. We're going to wait. We're going to go ahead and clip that though. Another clipping mask. And we want to multiply. This is going to be our shadow layer. And we're going to do some cool shadows, warm lights. So let's get this. Now the reason why I like to do a full darkened shadow like so is, one, I can now go back and see some of my missed areas. So what we're going to do is come in here. Fix the skin, that's missing right there. Why am I missing something? Let's see here. So we're still 11% opacity. That's not what we want. There we go. So I can come in and fix these. Little spots. I'm kind of missing. Those will definitely show up later. Just work it in. Allows me to see all the little spots. But the other reason why I do this is because it's easier for me to actually mask a shadow layer and my highlights layers and keep it all one consistent color, and then I can come back and kind of fix as needed. I'll show you what I mean by that in just a second when we get to doing it. Now I just want to fix all the little gaps we have in here. Anything else up here? Right in there. We do have some more on the skin. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is we want to create a mask, and then we're going to basically fill in the whole mask with black. And then what I can do is I can come in and actually mark out what I'm wanting to shadow, like so, by just painting with the white. The reason why I do this is because it allows for more uniform color, allows for more consistency in my shadow, and I'm not having to constantly go color pick what shadow I'm using again. And what else I can do, go back to this, so I can also use my lasso tool and just literally come in here. We're going to fill this in with white on the correct spot. Like so. Same thing, if I was like doing the ear. And we want to make sure that we're working on the mask. And when I say the mask, this mask that we've got set up over here, because what I can do then is if I need to fix, it's not highlighting the color now, but it's using the black or white, and that's what determines whether or not the shadow layer gets through. And that's what we want. So I can come in and fix. Come in and fix here. Make any of the changes that I need to. We want all this to kind of be shadow underneath. Shadow in here. Just like so. And she's wearing this hood, so we're gonna kind of shadow over like that. Same thing up here. And actually this is gonna be pretty bright. A little bit more shading here. And so again, if you didn't get to do this earlier, one of the ways that I do in my style is some of my ambient occlusion shadows are all going to be done in that black ink, which is why we don't have to worry about it now. If you were doing it at this stage though, basically what you'd want to do is have it be a little bit of a darker hue on your masking. Mask layers for your shading might not work as well. Might have to play around with a couple different layers and so forth. Come in here. So the shadow there. And now our light is coming from kind of right in front here. The hair is going to be covering up some of that. So a lot of our shadows, again, we can make this easier on ourselves. By doing so. The idea is to work efficiently and smart. You don't ever want to create more work for yourself. And so learning the little tools and tricks of like how to use whatever software you're using is hugely instrumental in getting to that point. And you'll see what I do kind of here. We're actually going to take this just a little bit more. Clean that up. This hand kind of shadowed. So we might have just a little bit of a something like that. Nothing too crazy, but you know, just give us a little something, something. Same thing over here. And again, so what makes it great using the masking tool like that for your shadow is I can easily just, again, kind of come through. Makes it that much easier for me to come in and do my shadows and colors. Since this guy curves in, we do want to create the shadow here. Make those two kind of pop. Sometimes you guys zoom in, get in close, get close to the work. Do the same thing. Don't forget to shake out your wrists, stretch when you're drawing. Alright, I think we've almost got all of our basic shadows in place now. I'm gonna do a couple more, give us some more texture. All right. So that's what we got so far. So obviously, shadows aren't the only part of doing light. We also want to have some highlights. So what we're gonna do for that is we're gonna set this to a soft light, and we're going to create another mask. So this time we want to create a nice warm color. We're do the same thing. So we've created our mask. And already I like it's got some nice smooth colors that color complements these well. But what we're gonna do is do just like we did with the shadow layer. Except now we're gonna work kind of in an opposite direction. So where our lights were casting shadows, now we're gonna kind of go on top of that, and we want to create the highlights of where that light pops up the most. So for example, in this here, let's be right along this edge. It's gonna be here. then we play with this too. Like if we were to go here, we could do like, how's it look like color dodge? Color dodge looks kind of cool. I might turn that to a different color now though. Let's see if we went more yellow. That's too much. That's kind of looking good. So you can kind of play with it and have a little fun figuring out where it fits exactly. You can bring it to an overlay or hard light, soft light. One of these different lighting tools. Do a soft light. You definitely want to bring it up a little bit more saturated. Like so. And depending on what you're going for, like more muted, like this works really well. In fact, I actually really like the way that turned out, so we're going to keep that. You don't need too much. Just nice little variations to kind of break up the monotony of the shadow and the lighting. Wherever that would really be coming down and hitting, that's where you want to have some of this lighty, highlighty goodness. Bring a little bit in here, like for the top of the ear. Don't go too crazy with it. These are nice, just subtle little highlights. Now what we're gonna do is make it real subtle. I don't think I want any right there actually. Yeah, now we're getting somewhere. Before we start working on the magical orb, we're gonna go in. I want to start doing the actual eye highlights. So we're gonna come in here, flow all the way up. See how that looks. Good. Perfect. We're gonna grab our inking brush real quick. We're gonna give ourselves some lip highlights as well. That's a little too excessive. Let's try this again. Too much. Let's see. That's better. I like that. And then we can also just kind of add to the hair highlights a little bit. Okay, so let's think then about her little ball thingy. I think we're gonna do is a green type magic. I think green would be cool. I want to go a little bit darker first. That's what's going wrong. That's what happened. Let's see. Oh, I see. Now give us a little bit of fun. What we're gonna do here, we're gonna go to a color burn. This nice green. So we're gonna do a soft, not high flow. Turn the opacity down just a bit. Color dodge is what we want, not color burn. Then we're going to come through. I want to create let's do this. create all kinds of effects with this. If I wanted to, I want to. Something kind of like that. I've got some cool brushes that I picked up. So if I I don't know. I'll have to in here not. I'll do a lens flare. So you can do different things. Depending on I think that looks kind of cool. Now, ultimately, what we want to look at is, like, think about, okay, so we have this character design. We got some basics done with the art. Like, what's our background? Now, we can do a couple different things. Let's start by making it just a little bit darker. So that does a lot already. Say we went to do with this. There we go. Yeah, so I'm liking this a little bit better. And then do that just as another multiply. Play with the color balance a little bit here. This is where you can really kind of have some fun with your work. Can really change the dynamic of the piece, depending on what you're trying to accomplish, what you're trying to do. mess with the levels some if you wanted to. Again, it just kind of depends on what you need and what you're trying to accomplish. So again, all those are your typical options within Photoshop. I don't typically mess too much with that kind of stuff. Just as needed for a certain picture. And there we have it. So what's left for us then is to sign the piece. I still need to make a new signature brush. I keep telling myself I'm going to, and then I keep forgetting to. Why am I? Oh. It is no longer 2020. Thank goodness. We are now in 2021. I hope 2021 is a good year for you all. All right, save. So yeah, that's a kind of just a fun sketch going from start to finish. Kind of my process and what that looks like when I'm doing characters or drawing art. A little bit different depending on the type of commission. But for the most part, that's what it amounts to. Starting out super messy, getting kind of crazy with it, getting loose, and then tightening it up. So we can actually go back and look through some of these as well. So let's go kind of turn all these off and let you guys kind of see what this process looks like all along the way. And let's go ahead and do an extra background layer in here just to make it easier to see on the white background with the sketches. That way, if you didn't get to kind of be here for the whole thing, you can kind of see what this process looked like all the way through. So again, start out super messy with the sketch. I don't like to keep it I don't try to go in super neat at first. After that, we can start to kind of tighten up. And let's bring our opacity back up on this one. You can see I kind of had an idea of where I wanted my shadows to go now at this point, kind of placing some thought and a little bit more structure in place. From there, we did go ahead and jump into our inks, which we'll pull that next. Literally, as you can see, a lot tighter, a lot cleaner, getting those in place so that we can then go in and color with our flats. And again, what's nice about this is that, I'll show you, once we added our shadows and stuff, is I could easily go in and change this and it's not going to throw me a loop. So to demonstrate the point I was making earlier about this, say our client wanted to change the color of the reds in this outfit and they wanted them to be more of a green. It is as simple for me to just come in here, forgot to do the top part again of here, to do like so, and there we have it. My shadows are still all in the same place that they need to be, my highlights are all still in the same place, and we could literally do this with, I mean, any of our flat pieces in the piece, which is awesome. So say like for the blues, they wanted to make those more of a purple. Well, guess what? We can do that. It's not a problem. And very quickly our piece changes. It becomes something new. We can come in with a darker purple. Let's say we wanted to, we need a magic one, wrong one. There we go. Change the color of our sleeves to a darker purple. Great, we've gotcha. Maybe we even wanted to kind of leave this sleeves that color. Maybe the client wants her to have a different hair color. Again, makes it super easy because our shadows and stuff, they're on a separate layer. We've got them masked out. We did our flats on their own layer and tried to keep it as simplistic as possible to make it a lot easier for us to go in and change. And even still, like, we add in our magical colors, all that kind of fun stuff. Our background. Let's turn that one off. We still are left with a pretty awesome look. Do all kinds of fun stuff with it. But yeah, we're gonna go back through our little color change session there. Once again, you can see where we're at. We have returned. We're going to turn on the colors we were using. Also fix these just a little bit if we don't want them too strong. One other thing, I didn't really do it on this one, but you can as well. You want to do another clipping mask over your colors. And this is the use of doing a gradient kind of look. We're going to go from our orange, which is our to a nice cool shadow. And we do want the gradient tool, not the paint bucket tool. Follow the path of our light. Okay, looks kind of goofy, but what we're going to do is we're going to come in here and we can go to overlay. This is also a great way for adding just some standard shadows in. We're going to go with that hard light. I like that. Now look at that. Oops. Brings a whole new dynamic to the piece. And this is where you get nitpicky. I can see that I've got some leakage still. So I'm going to come in here and I want to clean up these lines, clean up the coloring where it kind of snuck out on me. And look at that. So there you have it. That is, like I said, essentially my style in a nutshell. Where's my shadow layer here that I had? There you go. When I'm doing just some quick sketching, playing around. And yeah. Thanks for coming and hanging out tonight. That is probably where we're going to end the stream. The stream's going to go up on YouTube. I'm trying to get into the YouTube scene as well. So please go follow me over on YouTube as well. Just hit that like and subscribe. It's a decaf pillow. I've got just some basic videos now, but I do want to incorporate some where I'm talking. I'll be having some different tutorial videos, a weekly stream, kind of put up for anyone who wants to go back and watch those. But I don't know. I'm still getting into the whole production piece of what I do. Finding some new ways to connect with my little community of followers and see what happens. So please, thank you again. Teslin, thanks for the follow. Super appreciate it. I do stream, try to stream every Tuesday. Outside of this, I do have a full-time job where I'm still working. One day, hey, we might turn this into something full-time. Who knows? But I really do appreciate the follows. I appreciate sticking around. Don't ever hesitate to say hey in chat. Talk to me. I love to talk to my chat while I'm working, and just kind of keeping engaged with you guys. But I do appreciate you coming in, hanging out. We're gonna have this piece posted up on Instagram, as well as, like I said, we're gonna have the video posted up on YouTube in the next couple days. Thank you guys so much. I do hope you have a great rest of your night. Thanks for stopping by.